Imagine a private company, run from a modest office on London's Leadenhall Street, its name barely known outside the world of trade and finance. Yet this company would go on to command an army twice the size of Britain's own, and rule over millions of people across the vast and diverse lands of India. The English East India Company wasn't a government in the traditional sense, but it minted its own currency, waged wars, and dispensed justice, acting as judge, jury, and sometimes executioner, across a subcontinent teeming with cultures, languages, and ancient traditions. Its directors, sitting in candlelit boardrooms thousands of miles away, were driven by the pursuit of profit. Their decisions, made in the heart of London, would shape the destinies of millions, redrawing borders and laying the foundations for what would become the British Empire in India. The transformation from humble traders to powerful rulers was neither quick nor inevitable. It was a gradual process, marked by ambition, cunning, and ruthless opportunism. The company's agents learned to navigate the complex politics of Indian courts, forging alliances and betraying them when it suited their interests. Exploiting rivalries between Indian princes, the company used its superior military technology, cannons, muskets, and disciplined troops, to tip the balance of power in its favor, seizing land and influence with every victory. What began as a quest for spices, silks, and precious goods soon became a story of commerce transforming into dominion. The company's ships, once symbols of trade, became instruments of conquest. The rise of the East India Company is a powerful lesson in how business, when unchecked, can become empire, reshaping societies, economies, and the very fabric of nations. As we journey back through time, we'll uncover how this single trading body changed the course of history, altered the lives of millions, and left a legacy that still echoes in the modern world. The East India Company's story is a stark reminder of the complex, often troubling relationship between commerce and power, a legacy that continues to shape our world today. Our story begins not with the clash of armies or the thunder of cannons, but with something far more subtle: spices. In 16th century Europe, spices were more than just flavor, they were symbols of status, luxury, and immense wealth. Nutmeg, pepper, cinnamon, and cloves were so valuable that fortunes were made and lost over their trade. The air of bustling markets was thick with the scent of distant lands, and the tables of the elite were graced with these rare treasures, each grain and pod a mark of prestige. For decades, the Spanish and Portuguese empires dominated the lucrative spice trade, controlling the flow of these precious goods from Asia to Europe. Their ships sailed vast oceans, bringing back cargoes that would fetch enormous profits. But across the English Channel, ambitious English merchants watched with envy, eager to break into this exclusive club and claim a share of the riches for themselves. In the year 1600, recognizing both the opportunity and the challenge, Queen Elizabeth I granted a royal charter to a group of London merchants. This act officially created the East India Company, giving them the authority to trade with the East and challenge the established powers. Their mission was bold and clear: to shatter the monopoly held by their rivals and bring spices directly to England, bypassing the middlemen and reaping the rewards for themselves and their nation. The company's first voyages were fraught with danger. Crews faced violent storms that battered their wooden ships, outbreaks of disease that claimed many lives, and fierce competition from Dutch and Portuguese rivals who guarded their interests with both diplomacy and force. Every journey was a gamble, with fortunes and lives hanging in the balance. While India would become central to their story, at first it was merely a stopover. The true prize lay further east, the fabled Spice Islands, where nutmeg and cloves grew in abundance, and where European powers vied for control. Despite setbacks and fierce resistance, the company pressed on. They traded English woolens and silver for spices and fine textiles, slowly building relationships and learning the complex customs of the East. Early efforts focused on diplomacy as much as commerce. English envoys sought the favor of local rulers, negotiating for the right to build trading posts and warehouses along the coast, laying the groundwork for future expansion. At the time, no one, neither the English merchants nor the powerful rulers of India and the East, could have imagined that this modest trading company would one day wield power over millions, shaping the destiny of entire nations. Yet, in their relentless pursuit of profit, the seeds of a vast empire were quietly sown, destined to change the course of history. The company's journey had only just begun, and the world would never be the same. Shut out of the lucrative Spice Islands by the Dutch, the English East India Company found itself at a crossroads. The fierce competition for control over the spice trade had left the English searching for new opportunities, and their gaze soon shifted to the vast and wealthy subcontinent of India. At this time, India was ruled by the mighty Mughal Empire, a realm of immense riches, sophisticated culture, and powerful rulers. The Mughal court was renowned for its grandeur and its ability to command respect from foreign visitors. The English couldn't use force to gain entry. Instead, they relied on careful diplomacy, sending envoys and gifts to the Mughal court, hoping to win favor and secure trading rights. Every negotiation was a delicate dance, as the company sought to prove its value without appearing threatening. In 1612, a turning point arrived when Captain Thomas Best led a small English fleet to a dramatic naval victory over the Portuguese near Surat. This show of strength impressed the Mughal governor, who saw the English as useful allies against European rivals. As a result, the company was granted its first trading post at Surat, a modest beginning, but a crucial foothold on Indian soil. This outpost became the seed from which greater ambitions would grow. Soon the company expanded its reach, establishing Fort St. George in Madras, a fortified base that would anchor English presence on the southeastern coast. In the west, the island of Bombay was transferred from the Portuguese to the English crown, and then leased to the company, providing another strategic port. To the east, the company founded Calcutta in the fertile Ganges Delta, establishing a stronghold that would soon flourish into a major city. These three cities, Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta, quickly became the pillars of company power, each serving as a gateway to the riches and resources of the Indian interior. They were more than mere trading posts. They were fortified settlements, bristling with cannons and walls, designed to protect company interests and assert its growing influence. From these coastal enclaves, the company's influence began to seep inland, as British merchants, soldiers, and officials ventured further into the heart of India, forging new alliances and seeking fresh opportunities. The company was still, officially, a guest in Mughal India, subject to the emperor's will. Yet, with every warehouse built and every brick laid, it was quietly constructing its own house, one that would soon rival the grandeur of its hosts. The stage was set for a new kind of empire, one built not just on trade but on ambition, strategy, and the slow accumulation of power. The company's ambitions were only growing, and the seeds of a vast colonial enterprise had been firmly planted in Indian soil. For over a century, the company was a powerful trader, but India's political landscape was changing. The Mughal Empire fractured, and rival states vied for power. The company saw opportunity in chaos, offering military support to local rulers in exchange for privileges and land. Robert Clive, a clerk-turned-strategist, realized the company's future lay in controlling territory, not just trade. European-trained Indian sepoys became the backbone of the company's army. The company shifted from supplicant to kingmaker, signing treaties and collecting revenues. The line between business and government blurred. The company was now in the business of ruling millions. Its transformation from merchant to sovereign was nearly complete. 1757, Bengal, the richest Mughal province, became the stage for the company's greatest coup. The Nawab of Bengal, alarmed by the company's power, seized Calcutta. Robert Clive marched on the Nawab's capital, but victory came through conspiracy, not combat. Clive struck a secret deal with Mir Jafar, a key commander, promising him the throne in exchange for betrayal. On the day of battle, much of the Nawab's army stood aside. The company's small force triumphed, and Mir Jafar became a puppet ruler. The company gained control of Bengal's immense wealth and the right to collect taxes. Now, company trade was financed by Indian revenues, not British bullion. Plassey marked the company's transformation from merchant to imperial power. The wealth of Bengal fueled its expansion, and the subjugation of millions. The company's true empire had begun. The consequences would be felt for generations. With Bengal under its control, the company's focus shifted from trade to extracting revenue. New tax systems like the permanent settlement demanded fixed payments regardless of harvests. Landlords or zamindars collected taxes, passing crushing burdens onto peasants. Many farmers fell into debt, losing land and livelihoods. The company pushed cash crops like indigo and opium, undermining food security. Famines became more frequent and deadly. Millions perished in the Great Bengal Famine. The wealth drained from the countryside funded company armies and paid dividends in London. For Indian farmers, company rule meant poverty and insecurity. Profit for a few came at the cost of suffering for millions. The company's influence reshaped Indian society as much as its economy. A new class of English-educated Indians emerged, serving as clerks and administrators. British officials, driven by a sense of superiority, began to intervene in Indian customs, banning practices like sati and thuggee. English became the language of government and education, creating a cultural hierarchy. Railways, telegraphs, and roads were built to tighten control and move goods, not to benefit Indians. Yet these networks connected India as never before, sowing the seeds of a shared national identity. The company's reforms and infrastructure had unintended consequences. The tools of empire would one day fuel the struggle for independence. By the mid-1800s, resentment against company rule was boiling over. The final spark rumors that rifle cartridges were greased with beef and pork fat, offending both Hindu and Muslim soldiers. When sepoys refused to use them, they were punished, igniting a massive rebellion in 1857. The uprising spread rapidly, uniting soldiers, dispossessed princes, and peasants. Major cities fell to the rebels, and for a moment, company rule teetered. The British responded with overwhelming force and brutal reprisals. After a year of savage conflict, the rebellion was crushed. The violence shook the foundations of British power in India. The company's days as ruler were numbered. The age of corporate empire was ending. The 1857 uprising ended the East India Company's reign. The British government dissolved the company, taking direct control of India. The company's legacy is complex. It unified India politically, built railways, and established a modern bureaucracy. But it also left deep scars: economic exploitation, famine, and cultural upheaval. India was transformed from a manufacturing powerhouse to a supplier of raw materials for Britain. The company's story is a cautionary tale about unchecked corporate power and colonialism's human cost. Its rise and fall shaped the destinies of millions, and the modern world. The journey from London merchants to imperial rulers is essential history. The lessons of the East India Company still echo today.